What's happening, folks? Back with another reaction, back with some more Jennifer Rush. And we're returning for the final tune on her 1989 album Wings of Desire, but as Darren explained last time, apparently this was not part of the original release of the album, but then on later editions of the album it had been included, and Darren mentioned that he actually hadn't heard this track, Where Can You Run, until he got this 5-album compilation, which concludes with Wings of Desire. So, yeah, he also mentioned that it's a bit of a funny sequence to follow Walk Away with Where Can You Run, as if it is almost saying walk away, but where can you run? So I agree, there is a bit of comedy to that. But yeah, the question, where can you run? There's an implication that there aren't many places of refuge or at least destination to be had, or at least the person asking the question is not aware of them. So yes, whether the question is rhetorical or genuinely inquisitive remains to be seen, and ultimately I don't know if we'll get an answer to the question, but I will be on the lookout for whatever lyrics and themes I can find. Let's give it a listen. This is Jennifer Rush. The track is Where Can You Run? And it's the final tune included on this version of her 1989 album Wings of Desire.
Just when you think you know where you stand, just when you feel secure, someone walks in and changes all your plans. Right when you had your feet on the ground, finally said for sure, somehow it all just slipped right through your hands.
I always think of Amadeus when he has a nice piano, I think it's harpsichord flourish at the end of the improvisational tune he plays, and then he does a comedic burm burm burm. Nevertheless, that silliness aside, I, number one, really enjoy the layered keyboard piano composition here, meaning we have like a true piano at the bottom of the track, and then there's at least one, maybe two keyboard slash organ lines that sound higher, and in some cases they're functioning simultaneously in complement with each other. So I enjoy that aspect. I enjoy there's these little star mist type of flourishes that come, and definitely the overall feel is an emotional ballad type of composition, which I enjoy. And there's some nice drum work too. I mean, there's a big snare, coming every other, which has a lot of pop to it. And then there's some, little hi-hat flourishes. And at one point I was hearing a ride cymbal at the top. So a very dynamic composition. The dog outside agrees. Nevertheless, I am intrigued by the lyrics because they're a bit different than I was thinking. Like, I think there is a definitive answer, where can you run? And it's to her, it's to the narrator. Now, when it starts and she's talking about, the dreams you had crumbling and slipping through your fingers, and, finally when you had your feet on the ground and you thought you knew where you were going and what, you had a sense of stability, that gets washed away. And it's like, oh, okay, so the relationship she had, the partner she had, they left, or there was a separation, they broke up, and now she's feeling like, that I'm locationless, I'm unmoored, I have no grounding, and I feel like the path and the vision I saw, it's dissipated, and I don't know where I'm going. And then it's like, wait a minute, she's actually saying this to another person who seemingly has had that. And interestingly, before I even go to that next part of the interpretation, she's saying like, where are the friends I thought I had? Like, it sounds like she experienced a life-altering disappointment, a disorienting crumbling of the walls that she thought she knew and were there to brace her and give her purpose and direction. And it sounds like in that moment, people that she had considered friends weren't there to comfort her, weren't there to help her, except for this one person that she's referring to, which I'm thinking of as a guy. But she's saying, like, seemingly that this guy has experienced something like this, and she's saying, you know what, where can you run? You can run to me, because I'm going to be here for you, just like you were there for me. So even if your friends shun you, or don't have the strength to try to lend their support to you when you need it most, in your darkest hour, as she says, I'm going to be here. So in one way, it's a more positive song than I thought, even though it's actually double the tragedy. It's like her former tragedy is what allows her to perceive the dynamics of this tragedy of the other person, and actually, her friends let her down when her tragedy happened. But again, it's positive in that she's saying, just like you gave me support when I needed it most, I'm going to be here, so you can run to me, because I know what it's like. I know where you are. So yeah, in a way, it's like a doubly tragic song filled with hope and positive support. So yeah, not quite what I was thinking going into it, but I enjoy the way all those perspectives unfolded. And who knows, maybe I'm not seeing it exactly right, but that seemed to be what is happening here. And once again, lovely vocals from Jennifer. There was one flourish in particular where, I'm thinking about the other sonics, and then my brain's like, wait, no, hold on. Are you hearing this? Are you hearing her vocal extension and flourish, which has happened a number of times? No saxophone here. I did want to give a shout out to Darren, who mentioned that it was her brother, I believe, on saxophone in the previous track, Walk Away, and that there'll be some other people on saxophone in coming songs / albums, but eventually we will hear her brother again, I believe. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Do let me know, Darren, which of the next 3 CDs you sent me is what we should go to for the next chapter. So yeah, ultimately we'll be on to the next release. It has been my distinct pleasure to become familiar with Jennifer's music through this compilation, and we have now reached the end of it. So yes, this is a prized possession. Thank you again to Darren and to Daniel and others who've been commenting on this deep dive. And again, I'm still going through Jennifer videos and interviews and some other things over on Patreon, so check that out if you haven't seen. At this point, I think all of them are public, and they are embargoed for the first 10 days when I do those reactions over on Patreon, because I'm trying to give extra benefits and perks to those who actually support me on a monthly level as full members. But again, for those of you who can't afford to do that, 10 days after I post those videos, you can check them out publicly. In any case, let me know what you think of this tune, and I will see you next time. Peace.